Hey everybody, welcome back to the Life-Stylist podcast. I'm Corey and I'm so grateful that you're here. If this is your first time, you are in an amazing space because we love to talk about all things alternative healing, wellness, woo-woo, anything that helps us get more connected to our spirit, to our higher power, and anything that helps us feel good inside our bodies, emotionally, and all the other things. And so if you've been here before, you know I get amazing practitioners that get to come on here. And this is not because of me, it's because divine power just connects me with amazing people. And so, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know I'm going to because I have Lori Wilson Jewett, and she's another magical woman that I met on Facebook on my Facebook dating because I tend to meet cool women that do woo-woo things on Facebook. And so that's how we met. So welcome, Lori. Thank you for being here.
You. I'm so grateful you're having me. I love this.
I love it too. And you and I know could talk forever. Lori actually had me on her podcast, How Do You Spirit?
Mm-hmm.
And not knowing me from anyone. And we just had a really great connection. It was super fun.
Yes, I agree. And we definitely will have you back as well.
I can't wait. I'm excited. So I am obsessed with what you do. I can't wait to come have my own reading. We are actually going to dive into your home and human design a little bit today because I love to look at what you're already doing that's already in line with what you're supposed to be doing, right? And how you operate. So tell us about you. Tell us what you do, why you do it, how it came about. Just give us the scoop on all of that.
Okay, so I even very young, I was super interested in ghosts and um, kind of the spirit side of things with that aspect, but not so much the reading thing and stuff. And years ago, I met Taco, who is my mentor. She's a psychic medium, a very well known psychic medium throughout the valley. She can do anything, honestly. But I met her about 30 years ago. And I had my first reading with her, and I was just blown away. Like, I used to read and Sylvia Brown books.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I got into that part of it. And I had my first reading with her, and I was just blown away. Like, how in the heck, how does she know this information that she would not? She doesn't know me. And
Right.
so that's where it really kind of started. And over the years, I would host psychic parties with her. And we would, I'd get my own readings, when I'd feel like I'd need an update or something. And she started telling me that, oh, you're going to be doing readings one day. And I'm like, you are full of crap. There is no way. Like, there is no way. So several years passed, and I was in a marriage that ended up not being so great. He wasn't, physically abusive or anything, and he's not a bad person. There's just some behavior issues there that I dealt with over the years. And finally, I just had enough and
Yeah.
decided to divorce. And I ended up divorcing back in 2012. And that was really when my true spiritual journey started, I would say, because I was finally free of all the heaviness, from the
Mm.
relationship and the marriage. And Taco, I was sitting on my couch on a Friday night all by myself. My kids were with their dad. And she just out of the blue reached out to me and said, hey, I'm doing my psychic classes this weekend and you need to come. And I was like, all right. So I went, and surprisingly enough, the first day, she literally said, okay, this is how you lean into it. This is what you need to do. And towards the end of the class, she said, we're going to split up now and do readings. And she paired me with her friend, which I knew, which was helpful. And I'm like, how, what, wait, what is going on? And I got things about her
Wow.
friend, and like, I was blown away. And so that's when I really started leaning into it. And then I started reaching out to my friends. Hey, let me practice on you. Come over and let's play, you know. So that's how I got into it. And
Wow.
yeah, I would continue doing readings for my friends over the years. And then I just really felt an urge to create something with the spiritual people, the world, you know, with all the
Hmm.
things. There's so much, as you know, Corey, that
Yeah.
we there's so many different people and unique ways in how they practice.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so important to let everybody know that you don't have to do things like everybody else. It's how what works for you, what resonates with you. And
Hmm.
I asked my angels, I talked to my angels a lot, and I asked my angels to help me create something and what would be a name for it. And the name immediately came to me. And that's where the How Do You Spirit came from. Because that is
Cool.
How Do You Spirit? That encompasses
That
everybody.
just gave me goosebumps. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so cool.
that just encompasses everybody. And how do you spirit? What do you do? And I started a small Facebook, a private Facebook group in the beginning because people kind of think we're weird
Hmm.
or they're afraid of it. And that just wasn't working. And I was like, what can I do to further the How Do You Spirit? And that's where we came up with the podcast. And this is our third year of doing that.
Wow.
And it's been definitely a learning curve with the technology and the, you know, as you know,
Yeah.
doing it
Yes. Which is
yourself.
why I just do the most simple, easy way. Yes.
Yeah, but with the help of my son and my daughter and my other son, we started recording with video because we the first few episodes we just did voice. And I
Mm.
thought people need to see us, right? They need
Yeah,
to see,
exactly.
so it's more personal. So that's when we started recording with the equipment and stuff. And now I have a little, I call it the podcast room set up in my home.
It's
And
so cute.
yeah, thank you. And that's how I got into it. And I can just tell you, over the years, I have met so many magical people like yourself. And I had heard of the human design before. And my daughter, Chelsea's actually the one that said, we need to find a human design person. And that's how you
Mm.
and I got connected. And again, I just feel like we have this connection there, but I just really believe that spirit brings the people into our lives at
Hmm.
the right time. And we are working on creating something hopefully really big, creating a community because that's what we need right now. We just so
Hmm.
need that in our world today. And I have learned so much, and people that come on my podcast, I just get sucked in and just mesmerized by people and how many different things, you know, that there are in the spiritual world and the spiritual community. And oh my gosh, we could be so have such a great community and be so powerful in such a good positive way, right?
Hmm.
And that's what
Oh,
makes me
100%.
excited, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can all save one soul, you know,
Yeah.
and help people grow and understand.
Yeah. What's really interesting that I've seen inside like the group of practitioners that it's still growing, but the main
Mhm.
group that started is when one of them has something come up in life, they all work together to heal that person. Like it is the coolest thing to just have your when I was sick, I had what I called my board, and they were practitioners that were alternative. Some of them were medicine like physical health, but they were outside of Western medicine. And I called them my board because they were my board of practitioners, which nobody in Western medicine, you may have 50,000 specialists like I had, they're not talking to each other, right? So what's cool is that like if one of us has an issue, we have this group of people that are like, oh, well, let come over here and let me help you do this, and let like I'll go, let's dive into your human design and see what your body's trying to tell you. it's so freaking cool. And then it's so fun to bring people that are a little bit like tiptoeing into it because psych, like what you do,
Uh-huh.
I would never have, I'm like, no one can do that. Cause I was really, part of it was the religion. And I don't know that they ever, like, I remember anyone coming out and saying anything about the religion here that you can't do that. But we were so programmed into listening to what the religion said and to not look
Mhm.
outside of ourselves or the church for other answers that psychic abilities were not even in my peripheral at all, right? So
Yes.
when I then the way I saw it is like from an intuitive standpoint, when I started to get into it, I was like, well, I don't want anyone that's going to future predict because I believe so much about how our brain can be programmed. And so there was a while where I was like, okay, don't tell me anything, right? So,
Okay.
but it's so amazing, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait for you to give me a reading. Like I'm so dying to get back in town so that we can do that. But
Me
tell me
too. I'm excited.
about like how, okay, so as a kid you always kind of knew things, and what's interesting is that all of us have that, all of us have this ability to know things or certain things that were just shut down when we were kids just because we were afraid, we had no one to talk to about it, people told us not to, you're just having imagination, whatever.
Yes.
Tell me how, like how did that evolve to where, like, did the gifts come once the gifts came back, like when you were like fully like, okay, I can do this and I'm going to learn how to do this,
Mhm.
and you were working with Taco, which by the way, I need to have a psychic party, I want one of those.
Yes.
How did you, like, still in me I'm like, well, I know I have certain abilities, but to go to a class and then sit with somebody and be like, here, read this person, that's really kind of hard for me to understand how that could happen. So how, like, explain that to us, how it just came like that, if
It's
you can.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of hard to explain, but honestly, it's really trusting the message. Like I always say, is my Lori brain thinking this, or is it a
Mhm.
message from spirit? And the validation comes from the people confirming, so it does take a while to develop that. And most of all, to trust
Mhm.
what you're getting is a message. And now I'd say I'm pretty good with it, deciphering which is which, because as humans, we all want what is best for people. And so, but sometimes spirit comes through and there's maybe a not so happy message, I guess, if you will.
Mhm.
Sometimes people need to be slopped and get
That'd be
get in their
tough.
face with it
Yeah.
is because you truly want what's best for people, but sometimes the message is, hey, you're off path and you need to get back on your path, and unless you start working on these things, you're going to stay in this negative space energy. And it's like I could never read my husband or my
Mm.
kids because they are too close to me. um,
Mm.
but I get messages. So I'm psychic medium. So I get messages in my mind's eye, and I hear, but not with my ears. And then I will just get random thoughts. This I'm trying to control this more because we don't want spirit to feel like they have free reign to come to us at any time.
Mhm.
And I mean that it gets overwhelming. I mean, I've
I
had
can
days
imagine.
yeah, I've had days where I'm feeling just anxious and it's like, okay, woo, you can't talk to me right now because you're going to make me crazy.
Yeah.
But I have had instances, a few, where I've had people that I know where their loved ones will come through if they really, really feel like they need to hear a message. And also, I think it's very important for people to remember that if you do get a psychic reading or tarot reading or whatever that is for you, it's important to remember that readings are designed for guidance, right?
Mhm.
It's not,
Yeah.
and no psychic medium tarot reader is 100% correct. It's so important. We are reading your energy and providing information to you in that moment.
Mhm.
And you can do whatever you want with it. You can choose to say, nope, nope, I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to anything. Or you can choose to implement that guidance into your life and make a difference. And right now I'm seeing that a lot of people have kind of veered off their paths, the
Mm-hmm.
purpose. And so we just need to, sometimes we just need a little direction. And I have also a lot of clients that will come and see me and they'll be like, well, I thought that. And I do the same because I still,
Mm-hmm.
talk to Taco. And sometimes we just need a validation that we're
Yeah.
what we're thinking,
That's what
and
I
that
was going to say is it's
Mhm.
validation for what your spirit, all the things, right? We all know
Yes,
what we need.
yes,
But our humanness, our ego, our conditioning makes
yes.
us second guess that, makes us
Uh-huh.
question, is this correct? And so when somebody, same thing with me, like somebody will sit here and have a scan and they'll be like, I knew I needed to do that. I knew that was the problem. And so
Yeah.
that just validates. Or when I do human design, it redirects. It's like, you know that this is what you're good at, but
Mm-hmm.
your mom or dad said that's not really viable for income, so you haven't done it. And it really is, right? Or something like that. And so I love that you brought that up because it literally is your path is drawn. Yeah, you can waver and do different things off and on it, but you're always going to be redirected. And someone sometimes needs to smack you and tell you.
Yeah. And I've had instances with me. I was talking to you when we did my scan, and I'm supposed to be eating more nuts and things. And I literally the week before was at Costco and bought the big box of the nut packages. So
Mhm.
I intuitively know, but sometimes again we just need that validation. And we did one of our witchy episodes a couple weeks ago, and um, Marissa, one of the gals that was on that we do our witchy episodes with, she says, oh yeah, herbs are different, good for different things like protection and everything. And she mentioned the rosemary's great for protecting. And I have a rosemary plant in a big barrel outside right at my front door. I had no idea.
Well, I got to get one of those.
Yeah. So we do, and we're all intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
We all have that intuition. It's just leaning into it and learning how and when to recognize the messages,
Mm-hmm.
that come through. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like a superpower, right? So, like,
Mhm.
some people listening might think I'm wacko for saying this, but if you go back and you start watching the Avengers, there
Uh-huh.
are so many like parallels in what's happening in the world that I'm like, oh, we're in the Avengers. But it's like that getting that superpower, like just going, oh, do I have what just happened right now? It's the
Right.
same thing, right? We just don't have spider webs and things coming out of us. Who knows? Maybe some of us will. But it's
Right. You
that
never
same, like,
know.
what is happening right now? How do I know that? Because, and it's interesting that the more that you trust it, the more, like, when you were saying, sometimes I have to tell people things maybe that they don't want to hear. I
Yes.
have the same thing. And I've been conditioned to be nice and to not hurt feelings and to all that. And so, and
Yep.
also, I have a very harsh delivery. Like, I have to be very conscious of the way I deliver things.
Huh?
And so I have to say, okay, hear my heart. You might not like what I'm going to say, but I have to say this. But it's truth that I know is true, right? And it would be wrong for me to not share it. So when someone sits in my office, many times people have sat in my office. I mostly work with women, and I'll just know something about them. And I'm like, oh, I so don't want to bring it up. And so I've had to figure out ways to ask questions so that they bring it up.
Yeah.
Um, but so it's interesting as you're saying this, is we all have it. I just think we're all in tuned different ways because we have to share it in specific ways, right? And when you're on your purpose,
Hmm.
okay, I have a question for you while we're talking about purpose. So your other gig is real estate.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so what
Well,
I'm curious about with your abilities of seeing people who have passed on or in the next whatever wherever we go,
hmm.
do you experience that when you're working in homes? Like, do you ever have experiences like that?
Yes, I can walk into a home and feel the energy. And
Mm-hmm.
if it's like a super negative energy, yes. But how are you going to tell your client?
Hmm.
Um, hey, we need to leave because this place is scary, you know?
Right.
But the fun thing is I have had a couple of clients over the years. One of them, he is dives into dreams. He's written several books.
Ooh.
I've worked with him a few times, and this was so cool. This is a great story.
Okay.
When I first started working with him to purchase his first home, we knew he knows Taco as well. I introduced them, but anyway, we walked into this home one time, and any home we'd go into that we'd look at, he would look at me to see my body language and how I would react. And we
Uh-huh.
walked into this home one time, and we both stopped right inside the front door. And we looked at each other, and he says, "Do you feel that?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "Let's leave." And I said, "Great." And so we left. And
Yes, please.
fast forward several years later, I sold him an investment property a couple of years ago,
Uh-huh.
and it wasn't renting, and he knows what I do. He knows I have my podcast. He knows, all those things. And he emailed me and he said, "Hey, my house isn't renting. It's been a couple months. Can you go over and bless the house? Do whatever it is you do. But we need to clear this house out." And I have done that before too with clients.
Awesome.
And he's out of the country. So I told him, I said, "I'll go over tomorrow. I'll sage it. I'll bless it, all those things." And he said, "Great." And he goes, "And I'm going to put my energy into it too and do my own meditation and everything." And I went the next day and did what I did. And I emailed him back and I said, "Hey, I went over to the house. This is what I did." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful." He goes, "And I did my thing." And he emailed me about 5 days later and he says, "It worked. Our magic worked. I have a signed lease on my property."
Oh my gosh, that is so
So,
awesome.
so it's so fun when I do have clients like that lean into it and understand it, because look how powerful it can be.
Yeah. Well, what's
You know?
interesting about that, I mean, with like as me as a consumer of someone who would maybe go out to buy real like if as a consumer buying real estate,
Mm-hmm.
what I think people need to are going to start to see is that these gifts enhance whatever you do, right?
Yeah,
So it would be a
absolutely.
benefit to hire a real estate agent that can sense energy because
Yes,
I remember when I worked at the airport, I would just have random I worked at the gate, so I was stuck and I would just have random conversations with people that would just want to
right,
talk. And
right.
so I remember this guy, I remember exactly what gate I was at and everything. And he came up to me and I don't even know how it came up. And he's like, "I have this house and it's haunted." And I'm like, "No way, tell me." This was before I was into any of this. I'm like, "No way, tell me about it." He's like,
Yep,
"The toilet seat slam, all these things happen. I've had to have it cleansed." I've never forgot that story because I'm like, I just remember thinking, how do you live in that house? And
right.
so and what's interesting is I oftentimes think people, like if I were to live in that house, I maybe wouldn't have had that experience because I wasn't open to that. Do you know what I mean? So it was
Yes.
maybe something trying to open him up to it. But what a bonus in any genre of job to have
Mhm.
people who understand their gifts because that just enhances whatever they're doing. So how cool for you to be able to be like, "Yeah, the energy's not in here very good." Or to be able to say, "You know what? You love this house. Let's give it a cleansing so that it's your house," right? So
Yes, and
cool.
it's funny when I started. So my brokerage manages rental properties as well. We have a
Mm.
lot, and I started saging my listings sometimes if they were vacant and they weren't selling. So I'd go and sage them. And the office caught on to what I was doing. And now they literally, if we're having problems with the house or if something negative happened into it with a prior resident, they will go sage them.
Wow, look what you've done. You should,
Yeah,
like, my brain starts spinning at all the entrepreneurial ideas. I'm like, "Oh, you could sell
yeah,
saging kits to real estate agents."
right. Well, it's so funny we're talking about this because I literally was thinking about that yesterday because we're going through a rebranding process at our
Hmm.
brokerage right now. And I thought I should start marketing myself as, the woo woo agent or something like that.
The
Because,
psychic realtor.
yeah, because the people that understand the spirituality, just again, how powerful is that
Hmm.
when you have
Well,
someone that aligns with you?
especially if you're renting. Like, think
Yeah.
about rental properties are constantly changing over and people drop their energy, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
there could be some yucky stuff that has gone on in that house, and you walk in and you're like, this is the perfect house, but it's not
Doesn't
energetically
feel right.
correct.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There is
Oh,
definitely
who
something to that.
knew? That is so cool. I've been blessed with any place I've gone to just walk in and know. Like, it's a knowing. It's
Yes.
just, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be, right? And
Yep.
the more we get tapped into our, everyone has those gifts. The more we tap into that, the more we won't second guess and question everything that we do. It's so great.
Exactly. You just go with it, right?
Yeah. So when
Yep.
someone has a reading with you, tell me about that. So is it like you just prepare for it before? What does that look like? Do the people come in once they know that you're having that, like they know the appointment's been set and they start, like, tell me about that. How does it work?
Yeah. So people that I have not read before, um, well, with anybody, I sit down with them and I tune into them. And
Okay.
then I just start getting stuff. And I usually start getting things before they get here with me to do the reading.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's how that works. I just tune in, and people that haven't sat with me before, they they'll start rattling off stuff, and I'm like, no, stop. I don't tell me anything. Let's see. It's kind of a way to say to them too, I'm the real deal, because there are, so as you know, Corey, there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of practitioners that don't have good intentions,
Mm-hmm.
and that's very unfortunate. So I like to kind of, I guess, if you will, prove myself in the beginning.
Yeah,
To
totally.
say, hey, no, I don't want to hear about your story. You can ask me questions once we get started. But yeah, I just tune into them and see what spirit brings to me, and we work off of
Mm.
that.
I
Yeah,
love that. I'm the one that'll just be like, blank page, tell me. I'm not giving
yeah,
you any
yeah,
clues. Prove yourself. But
yeah.
the thing that it makes me think of though, like the thought that came to my mind is like, and this is from my old self, the fear of I'm naked in front of you. What do you know? Do you know what I'm saying? And so how do you have, and I'm bringing that up because I want people who are like, okay, I would love to talk to like I've had several energy sessions where my brother and my grandmothers have come through, and it's
Yeah,
freaking, you cannot deny that, right? And that was not intentional. We weren't looking for that. It just happened during the session.
right.
So, um, but people who are like tiptoeing into this kind of thing, they're like, gosh, I would love to make that connection. I'd love to know if there's something they want to say to me.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make them comfortable so that they're not like, because when I have a friend that sometimes I'll meet up with her and I'll be like, are you reading my mind right now? Like, it was a weird thing for a while. I'd be like, what are you, and she's like, no, I just put a hat on that says no, there's none of that. It's just,
Yes. So that's psychic spying is a no-no.
yes.
And we just don't go out randomly, trying to figure out what's going on in people's lives. That is not, that's just not, that's a no-no.
Right.
And you will get punished spiritually for doing those things. But
Yeah.
yeah, when I tune into them, I always protect myself and the person in the space. And I ask their angels, their spirit team, loved ones that want to come through to please provide messages for them that they need to hear, or something that they're lost with or something. So that's how I start with that. And
Mm-hmm.
you do have to be, it does help to be somewhat more open. You can always tell when I have new people come and they're like, got their arms folded, and they're very
Mm-hmm.
not going to say anything, but you have to
Yeah.
be open to allow the energy to move. So
Right.
that's important. But
Yeah.
usually they start loosening up once they kind of get a feel for how things are going. And once I start mentioning things to them that are resonating, then they're like, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Spirit's not going to tell you something that you're not prepared for. Yes, sometimes we need a good bitch slap, but they're really going to be focused on what in the moment and energetically, what do you need help with? What do you need
Mm,
guidance for? Those things. And I
I
do
love
have
it.
loved ones come through. And if they don't come through and they want to talk to a loved one, then we can bring them in. But it's interesting because sometimes loved ones, friends, family members that have passed, they don't want to talk.
Mm. Mm.
They'll, and I see them way back in the background and they're like, nope, we're not talking. Sometimes I've only had that happen a few times. For the most part, they're
Hmm.
willing to come forth and in the front, I call it, and talk. But it does happen sometimes, or they don't have any messages for,
Mm.
who I'm
Yeah.
reading. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm just obsessed with all of it. Like I went down the Teresa Caputo rabbit hole.
Yes.
So okay,
Yeah.
so how do you feel about that where she just walks up to people? Like is that something that you could ever see? Do you do that? Could you see yourself or would that do you feel like that's crossing a line?
Kind of feel like that's crossing a line. I've also spoke to Taco about this because it's happened to me with not strangers, but my friends. Like I
Mm,
said, that loved ones will just come to. She goes, typically when they come through like that, there's an important message that needs to be told.
yeah.
And so could I do what Teresa? No, I don't think I could just walk up to a stranger and say, hey, your mom's here with me. you know,
Yeah.
and again, I guess it depends on the message you get because
Yeah.
maybe it's a warning of some sort, or, they're really in a very deep, dark place and need to hear
Hmm.
something to give them motivation to stay with us. It's
Yeah.
a very fine line, I feel like. And
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like we just, in that moment, we need to decide if, you know, what's the message, first of all.
Yeah. What's interesting is I will be in the, like, I can be out in a public space with people and I feel emotion a lot. And so I
Yeah.
literally will just get this download of something's, something's going on. They just,
Yeah.
and it's so hard for me to go, hi, are you doing okay? Because to me, I'm like, it's none of my business. But there have been times where I'll just be like, hi, you okay? And then people just start crying or something,
And
right?
dump on you. Yes.
Yeah, so it's like a fine line of it's our own self-protection, right? Too, because you're
Yes.
very open. Your human design so open. So you're picking up all kinds of energy. And so
Mm-hmm.
the average person out there that has that openness, it based on how many human design charts I've done, people who are very psychically tapped in and talk to the other side a lot actually are very open. There a lot of
Yes.
projectors can do that.
Yeah. And
Um,
I get that. I'll be in the store. You probably get it too. People just spill their guts. My
mhm.
clients do that. Like, they'll just spill their guts. I've seen husband and wives fight, and it's like, okay, they must be comfortable with me. But yeah, I call it the zombie stare. There's times where I'll be out in public and people, and even children, do this to me. They will just like lock eyes with me and just stare at me, and it's
Wow.
like, but
Well,
yeah.
kids are so knowing now. Like little
Yes.
kids know stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like they probably energetically know who also has those skills.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just love to be of service to people, and hence the real estate career. I've been selling for, it's 26 years now. And
Wow.
in that's serving people, right? And I've always said I want to do it to help them, and it's not for the money. When I went to school, was in real estate school, they ask, why do you want to sell real estate? Everybody, the money, the money, the money. That's not the right intention for that. I
Hmm.
said, because I love helping people. And that
Yeah.
all is a part of, the serving. And I feel like with what we're doing with the podcast and what we're working on creating the community and the readings. I'm helping to serve people. That's
Hmm.
what I love.
Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's so interesting because I watch I have gone down the rabbit hole of $1 million listing. I started with like all the selling sunsets and stuff because I like their
Yep.
costumes and the cool houses, but then it just got so dramatic. So now I went clear back to the old $1 million listings. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally always am like, I just want to be a real estate agent because I want to show people the cool houses. I want to see all the really cool houses, right? Who cares
Right.
about the
Right.
yeah, I just think that'd be such a fun job.
It is. I
Um,
love it.
so oh, you said something I was gonna. Oh, you brought up Sylvia Brown earlier, and I'll tell you, I like to go into used bookstores, and I
Uh,
usually have a book I'm looking for, and it's usually never there, but another book will come to me. So
yeah.
I was in the store looking for Sacred Contracts, which is a Carolyn Mice book, which is amazing. And I listened to it twice, but I wanted the physical book. And I like to support small businesses, but I also like the magic of used bookstores. And so I went into the store and it wasn't there. And I'm walking down the aisle where it would be, which would have all the psychic books. And there's the pink book. Well, pink's my favorite color. The book was pink and shiny. And
Yes.
I'm like, what is that book? So I pull it out. It's a Sylvia Brown book from way back. I probably have it
Uh-huh.
sitting here. Anyways, and I'm like, this is old. And yeah, I'm into that, but that's not for me. And I put it back on the shelf and I turned to walk away. And I just was like, I can't walk away. I have to buy that book. So I
Yes.
walked back into the aisle, picked the book up, take it home. I never finished it because the last chapter was about murders and stuff. And I'm really sensitive to that. So I'm like, I don't need to know how she figures all that out. But
Right.
I
Right.
read the whole rest of the book, and there was a part in the book where she talks about the Akashic records. She talks
Mm-hmm.
about our, um, what did she call it? She called it our
The
plan or
blue,
something,
the
a
blueprint.
blueprint, something
Blueprint.
like
Yeah.
that. And this is when I was like, I was doing human design in my business, but I was still kind of where I was like, how am I going to merge this into what I do? Right.
Right.
And when I read that section, she's like, we all have a blueprint. We all have a plan that we made before we came here. And I've been saying that forever, right? That we made a choice, we made all these options, we selected from the digital option board, and then we came here and went, oh crap, I don't want that option.
I made the
But
right choices.
yeah, but when I read that book, it was almost like my angels came down and went, see, told you so, you're on the right track, right?
Yes,
So I just freaking love all of this stuff. It's so amazing to me. So,
it
so
is.
amazing.
It
So
is.
since we're going to do your chart soon, I didn't want
Uh-huh.
to go into the things that you and I are going to talk about your chart and like duplicate. I wanted to pull up something in your chart that I don't usually go into with people very often. So
Awesome.
I pulled a couple things out of your variables. So for those of you guys listening, when you pull up your human design, the body graph, you've got the two lines of the black and the red where you've got numbers, which are your gates. And I'm trying to explain this for people who aren't. I was going to pull up your chart, but I don't think I need to for this part. You have well, let's pull it up. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up just so that for the people that are watching on Substack, you can see.
And
Um,
I this is all new to me, and I just get it's so crazy to me though how everything is so the astrology, the human design, all of it is so intertwined, right? It just all fits like this perfect puzzle.
Yeah, it's like just picking up all the little pieces to help
Mm-hmm.
us on our way. It's so amazing. And we're just all helpers with each other. Okay, can you see that chart?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay. So for anybody that's watching, this is your body graph. And so when Lori and I go over her personal chart, I've already pulled it up from when I was on your your podcast. But when I
Right.
talk about openness, this is your openness. All of these white spaces are where you pick up energy, and each one of those energetic centers is a different type of energy. So you feel people's emotions, you feel lack of self-worth, you feel and
Mm-hmm.
amplify
Mm-hmm.
fear, pressure, overthinking. Those are your main places where you're really open and you amplify that. And so as an average person, all of us walking through the world, when we can become aware of where we're open, that's how we learn. This is why I'm driving myself crazy with overthinking. This is why I'm a hot mess emotionally. This is why when I get on social media, I'm massively triggered by wars and political stuff. When you understand your energy and how it's affected by the outside world, then you can start to manage it and you can start to protect yourself.
Yes.
So, these little arrows are something that I usually don't get into unless I'm working deeply with somebody's health, like physical health, or we've gone into their chart multiple times. But these are called your variables. And these little numbers and arrows tell you specific things about yourself. And yours are super cool because they're all about what I know about you, but also what your gifts are. So you have what's called direct determination. And what that means is that you need straightforward, clear structure, very simple processing. You're not like me where I'm all over the place. You're just like, boom. There's a lot of logic and structure in that. Does that resonate?
Yes, yes. Just give
Okay.
me the facts.
Yes. Let me
Mm-hmm.
ask you this because your cognition is smell. Are you, do
Interesting.
you notice, like, you'll have to pay attention? This might come out more now that you're, if it's creating awareness that you didn't have, but you're
Uh-huh.
very sensitive to smells and you actually can get intuitive cues from smells around comfort. Like the way someone smells can tell you a lot about who they are. Does that
Yes. So,
resonate at all?
no, I didn't think about that. And I mean, now that you've brought it up, I love when someone smells good.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they have good perfume on, or like my husband, the first time we met in person, he had the man perfume on,
Yeah.
and that was just that, of course, made me more attracted to him for sure. So
Yeah.
that does make sense. And I love smelling flowers. Like if there's a good
Mm.
flower, I could sit and just hold it under my nose and smell it all day long. So that truly does resonate with me. But I have not, in the psychic side of things, I have not experienced the smell things. But now I'm going to definitely start looking out for
Yeah,
it.
start paying attention to see if
Yes.
it might just be a subconscious thing where you like can feel a repelling from somebody if they don't smell a certain
Mhm.
way. Because I don't have smell cognition. We all have it. Your olfactor nerve is all attached to smell with memories. So smells bring
Oh,
back memories, right? For
yes, yes,
everyone. That's just a common thing we all share. But for
right.
you, I almost wonder if there's like a subtle intuitive, like your intuition picks up the smell before you're really conscious of it. So that'll be interesting to see if that, because again, everything's not going to resonate 100%. Some things are going to be
Right.
like, oh my gosh, that's so true, but some of them, in my opinion, open you up to something new.
Yes, I feel like
So
I'm open to something new now. I love that.
super cool. So your environment is artificial shores. An environment is really important because for children, if they are struggling in school, oftentimes it's because they're not supposed to be in an enclosed classroom environment. They don't learn well. They don't work well
Yes.
in that. So yours is artificial shores. And what that means is that you like places that are on the edge, that are kind of the in between, more
Mhm.
man made, but that incorporate maybe a waterfall inside of a place, or you're kind of like a little bit of the outer plus the inner where they bridge, so like a patio at a cafe or something
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
So if you start to pay attention to that, you'll notice that you're more productive if you're in that specific environment. Like you're not going to be somebody that's going to be able to go sit on the beach with your computer and be productive because it's just not in you. You're going to be
No,
more
that is so
productive.
true. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to concentrate. I would get
Yeah.
distracted.
Yeah, so knowing those little things, I always bring up kids because people can't figure out why their kids are naughty at school, and I'm like, it's because every kid isn't meant to be sit in a seat in a classroom every day. It just doesn't. We're not all the
Exactly.
same, right?
We all learn
Um,
differently.
exactly. The other
Hmm.
thing about you is you're an observer. So when you look here, your environment style is observer. So you're going to watch first and then take action. You're not somebody that's going to
Yes.
just, you're going to like, that's really common for people who are really intuitive. You're kind of just feeling for what's going on. Let me
Yep.
see. I'm not going to jump in and tell you your spirits are talking to you. Let me just
Yeah.
observe the situation.
Yeah.
You have a strategic personality, so that just means that you like framework and logic and you like a step by step plan. That is not
Yes.
me. I'm like, woo, whatever goes, right? And
Yep.
that works for me. So the people that can't follow me because I'm all over the place, they're just not my people, right? For you,
Yep.
you do well with structure and logic. Um,
Yes.
your motivation is guilt. When this came up in
Really?
first for me, it's not what you think
Uh-huh.
it is. It's not about I'm motivated when I feel
I don't
guilty.
say, yeah,
No,
anyway.
it's not that. What it means is that you have the ability to correct and improve and make things better. So what it's kind of saying is the opposite. Well, if we can correct and improve this, there will be no guilt. Like if you understand this, then there will be. Some of the stuff in human design actually is not what it says it is. It's almost like the opposite. If that doesn't make sense the way I
Yeah,
said
it
that,
does
but
resonate for sure. Yes.
yeah, so you're just trying to correct how do we make things how will we be when it's better we're better off if we do it this way.
Uh-huh.
So you also have your sense is action, meaning doing, not thinking. You actually get clarity from doing. If you just sit around and think
Mhm.
about stuff, it does not do good for you. Nothing
Oh,
happens. Right.
100% no.
Um you Your perspective is peripheral, so you're good at seeing the big picture and you're good at seeing patterns. That's very common in people that are gifted psychically. So
Oh,
you're probably able to sit with people and notice their patterns.
oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then your vision is wanting. And so your view is wanting. So that's saying you really want to be able to see all possibility. You're not closed to, well, we can only have a little bit. You are here to show people everything is possible. And you're doing that in your job, both of your jobs, actually, really, in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're spreading that to people,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. That's the goal.
Yeah. So when you feel your main, yes, I'm on purpose, on track, is when you're feeling successful. And when you feel bitter, that's your body's way of saying to you, you're off path. You're not in the right space. So if you get
Mhm.
bitter, resentful, you're a mental projector, which means that means that you need to hear yourself speak to get answers. So that's not a common that's called your authority. It's not a common authority, but people who are mental projectors, they actually need to have conversations with themselves out loud, with people, to actually get answers. Do you feel like that you do that?
Yes, 100%. I'm always talking to myself. My husband will tease me. I'll be like, "Hey, how about we do this or that?" And he'll say, "Yeah, let's do this." But then I do the opposite. He's like, "Why do you even ask me?" Because I
Yeah.
have to talk about it,
You just
right?
needed to talk about it. Exactly. And
Yeah,
that, like, so many people get stuck with understanding their like how to make decisions, which is the
uh-huh.
foundation of all human design. Like if you learn nothing else, I always tell people, if you can just learn your strategy and authority, that's your intuition. That's how you make decisions. And so people
Yes,
that have mental authority, it's really hard because no one's going to tell you as a kid, talk to me so you can figure your stuff out, right? You're not asking for my feedback. You just need to bounce it off of me to get it back to you,
yes, yes,
right?
exactly. Yep.
It's funny because most people they're doing that naturally, whatever their authority is. They either don't trust it or they're getting, like in your case with the mental, they're getting feedback when all you need is to say it. You don't need the feedback. You've already made
Yeah,
your decision, right? Once it
exactly.
comes out of your mouth, you're like, "Oh yeah, I already knew that."
Yeah, that's so true. So true.
So I'm excited to do your chart because we're going to get into more of the purpose stuff with your incarnation cross. And you are on purpose. We already know that. But what it's going to
Mhm.
do is help you. maybe tweak some things or figure out where, or if you're blocked with something, it'll just help you figure out where you're blocked.
I
So
love that, and I cannot wait.
it's
I'm
gonna
so
be fun.
excited.
It's gonna
Yes.
be
Yes.
so fun. Well, I'm
Yes.
excited for my reading. I
Hmm.
just, yeah, I've mostly done it in short increments or being with someone who's psychic and just having some discussions.
Yeah.
Or I've done some business. I have a friend that I did a business, one with a business partner to help us with a business that was kind of cool. So
Yeah.
I haven't had I don't know that I've had a full on just me appointment reading. So I'm super excited to do
Awesome.
that. Super
Yes.
excited. So tell us where we can find you if you want, if someone listening wants to set up an appointment, if they want to watch your
Yes.
podcast, tell us all the things and then we'll put it in the show notes too.
Awesome. Thank you. So we our website's howdoyouspirit.com, and we're on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, at How Do You Spirit. The Facebook page is Lori Jewett. That's the, and we do have a How Do You Spirit Facebook page as well, but we're trying to kind of narrow them down because it's a
I'm
lot
in
to
that
deal
same
with, as
space.
Corey
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
We're as we work on growing what we're doing and putting together, we're going to try to minimize those so there's one spot. But anyway, yeah, it's just at How Do You Spirit, and you can reach out to me by email, Lori at howdoyouspirit.com. We're always looking for more magical people to have on the podcast and to share your story. So many people have gone through things with traumas and, relationship um, traumas, all of it. Anyway, we want to hear your story and get your story out there so people can start to heal with their own stories that might be relatable to what their story is. So, yeah.
I love that. And you also are starting to you did your first psychic fair. So tell us about that because you're going to keep doing those. So we'll make sure that
Yes.
we know about
Yes.
that in the notes too.
Okay. We
Tell
did
us
our
about it.
first. Yeah, we did our first psychic fair Saturday, and there were 5 practitioners there. And we did 20-minute readings for $35, and we were at it for 3 hours, and we had a constant stream of people, and it turned out so amazing, more than we could ever have imagined. And we are going to start doing those once a month. And we are also going to be putting some witchy classes together. And
Fun.
yeah, we're going to start doing some psychic, the training classes, and teaching people how to tune in so you can, develop, so they can develop their own intuitions.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we just have a lot of fun stuff. We're going to be setting up a calendar soon that will have our,
Okay.
yeah, our schedules
That's
on that
so
and stuff.
exciting.
Yes, we're so excited. We were just so excited when we finished up Saturday. It was amazing.
I bet. And to have your first event go that, isn't it fun when you're just like, oh my gosh, and that's just how you know you're doing what you're supposed to do because you match
Yes.
the energy of the people that need you. It's so
Yeah.
cool when you get to that space. And one of the things I really love about you, and you brought this up earlier, is that you just want to help people, right?
Yes.
We
Yep.
want to get people out of this stuck, like there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people in a really rough place right now. And what I'm seeing that it
Yes.
is, what I believe it is some people will call it spiritual crisis. I feel like that's negative, but it's like a spiritual upgrade. So you go through kind of this dark night of the soul stuff and all the hard and the questioning of what am I doing? Why am I here? This world is scary. This world is beautiful and amazing. There's
Yes.
duality in everything, right? So once we
Mhm.
accept the duality and be like, not for me, but I can accept that it's there.
Mhm.
But then when we can kind of see, okay, this is just teaching me and pushing me to that next level. We're evolving. If people would understand your struggles are evolving you. And right now,
Exactly.
spiritually, that's when you're going through a religious upgrade, like disconnection, whether it's that, whether you're going through a relationship change, a job change, all of these things that we've been programmed are scary and terrible and we should be afraid and it's the end of the world are actually a shift for us to upgrade spiritually.
It's spirit giving us a nudge, right?
And the more we
Yep.
fight it, the harder it is. If we just go, okay, let me explore, which is why
Yeah.
people like, coming to somebody like you is amazing because again, you can say, like, I might be getting messages from my angels and the people that come to me to help me, but I
Mm-hmm.
might be questioning those still, right? So when I sit with you, I know that you will sometimes have direct messages that'll just be like, oh, okay, fine. All right,
Well,
I'm
did he
listening.
do that? Yeah, yeah. So
Told you
it's like,
so, right?
yeah,
So
exactly,
cool. I love
exactly.
it. Well,
Awesome.
thank you so much for being here. I'm just
Thank you,
it's been
Corey.
really fun. I could talk to you forever. So
Me
we'll end it
too.
here for this time.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Corey.
Okay. Thank you. Have a fantastic day. And thanks everybody for watching. We'll have all Lori's information in the show notes. Please like and subscribe and come
Yes, please.
back to the Substack. I'm really trying to put everything, as we talked, into one space. So I'm not in Facebook and Instagram and all the thousand places. Everything will be in Substack. So please subscribe, share if you know people that are looking for practitioners that are using their gifts correctly and are truly here to help. This is a really
Yes,
good place to find them. So thanks for being here,
awesome.
everybody. Have a lovely day. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.